What is good, Josh on this full game man, back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today we're back with some more Anime Tuesdays. You know, we took last week off because your boy was feeling a little sick, but we back at it here. This is Naruto's worst opinions debunked. Y'all see the shirt, y'all see the merch, y'all know what show I'm here most knowledgeable about. So today I'm gonna see if I agree. Are these actually some pretty bad opinions and what y'all actually be coming up with in this community, bro? Like, hopefully some of these I haven't seen. Of course, I have seen some pretty bad opinions, so I might see something I know on here, but all in all, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you guys enjoy this and want more anime content that comes to the channel, and we'll bring out some more. I could do some anime reviews. I've been starting to knock off a couple of animes here recently, watching some of the like lower episode ones before I get to some of the bigger ones that I have on my list. So knocking them off slowly but surely, day by day. So without being on my anime takes, let's get to his and watch this video. Let's get it.
So today I was streaming, and a couple of the things that you get when you're a streamer are unsolicited advice and horrible opinions.
Fair enough.
Today I was proposed with quite literally one of the worst opinions I've ever heard. Somebody came into my chat and told me that Kiba in Boruto would beat Tobirama in a fight, which is asinine, but we're not even gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
so
no,
the opinion was so bad that it got my brain thinking. And as somebody who's been a streamer for over 2 years and has been talking about Naruto,
let me know down below if you really believe that.
I've come face to face with a lot of maybe the worst opinions about Naruto. More specifically, opinions about events or characters within Naruto. So I figured I would compile a list of all of the worst opinions in Naruto and tell you why they're so bad. So with no further ado, let's get into Naruto opinions you shouldn't have and why. Before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. The beauty of opinions is that technically there's no such thing as an incorrect one. Unless your opinion is something like gravity doesn't exist, in which case you're wrong. But I'd like to preface this video by saying that you can feel any type of way you want about anything out there. That's the beauty of free human choice. However, that doesn't mean that some opinions are less researched and more ignorant than other ones.
Fair enough.
By and large, those are the opinions we're going to be talking about today. Like, you're allowed to feel that Kiba could beat Tobirama in a fight.
You're allowed to feel that.
Almost definitely never fight. There's no definitive way for me to tell you that Tobirama would beat Kiba in a fight. And thus, having that opinion isn't wrong. It's just underinformed.
It's
the
wrong.
Situation is exactly the same for the first opinion we're going to be talking about today. Sakura is useless. See, this is a very, very common theory slash feeling in the Naruto community.
I ain't gonna lie. I done fell victim to saying that one a couple times.
Jokes about Sakura being
I done said it a couple times.
Or the summoner of Naruto. It goes on and on.
Yeah,
and
the summoner of Naruto is crazy.
You can disagree with how Sakura's story plays out within the confines of Naruto.
That couldn't heresy will forever get on my nerves.
Factually incorrect. See, a lot of the hate for Sakura is garnered in the first part of Naruto.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She was thrown onto Team 7 with the genius of the Uchiha clan, the wielder of the Demon Fox, and Kakashi of 1,000 jutsus. You see, Sakura from day one of Naruto kind of had the cards stacked against her. She is simply a ninja from parents who aren't even ninja. She has no bloodline, Kekkei Genkai, or tailed beasts inside of her. She is simply a person trying to become a shinobi, and therefore a Naruto proper when Sasuke had things like the curse mark and the Sharingan to lean on to. And anytime Naruto got in a bad situation, he could have Kurama's chakra take over. And Kakashi was not only a high-level Jonin, he also had a Mangekyo Sharingan. Sakura had no power-ups, and yet she still attempted to be useful. Like during the Chunin exam, she tried to protect Sasuke after he passed out after receiving the curse mark. And you can say, yeah, well, she got her ass kicked in that fight, but she was also fighting hidden sound shinobi. And these weren't kids trying to actually become Genin. These were kids placed there by Orochimaru to help in the crush of Konoha. And therefore, these kids were significantly above Genin level. And once again, I will remind you, Sakura was just a person. But in that moment, she showed an outstanding amount of bravery. But Sakura's true impact can be more felt outside of the confines of OG Naruto. Sakura's genjutsu resistance in Naruto the Last is basically the only reason Naruto was able to travel to the moon in order to save Hinata. Sakura not only dodged a light speed attack from Kaguya, she also managed to land a blow on Kaguya that put Kaguya in position to be sealed. She was able to learn the strength of 100 seal and mitotic regeneration that gives her durability probably higher than anybody else in the verse. She has brought Sasuke back from the brink of death after incurring fatal wounds 3 separate times. During the time travel arc in Boruto, Sakura saved Sasuke's life. She also saves him after Sasuke has his ass kicked by Jigen. She saved both Naruto and Sasuke from bleeding out after their battle. Oh, and then she also saved him from Shin. Sorry, it was Naruto who was unconscious in the Chunin exams. I always get that mixed up. But speaking of Naruto, Sakura has also saved Naruto probably more times than she saved Sasuke. Let's not forget in the war arc, she quite literally cut into Naruto's chest and hand pumped his heart until Obito was able to put Kurama back into Naruto. And that's not even to mention light novel feats. In Sasuke Retsunon, the light novel that's currently getting manga-fied, drawn would be a good word, Sakura is solely responsible for saving Sasuke's life. Sasuke gets poisoned by a dragon and is about to die when Sakura saves him. So no Sakura, no Sasuke, or Naruto, who are the two main characters of the story.
They probably would have
so
wrote it a little better to make them
around,
alive.
well then, I guess you can say Sakura's useless. While we're talking about Sakura, we should talk about her mentor. You see, another very prevalent opinion within the Naruto fandom is that Tsunade is the worst Hokage. And I recently did a video ranking every single one of the Hokages in terms of their usefulness. And in that video, I tried to make it a point that every single Hokage has had a meaningful impact on Konoha. But to say that Tsunade's impact is the least impactful is once again just factually inaccurate. The only thing that people focus on when they talk about Tsunade's role as a Hokage is the fact that she sent Jiraiya to the Hidden Rain by himself. Something, mind you, he asked to do. And also, arguably, the right choice. And since they're so focused solely on this Jiraiya bit, they ignore the fact that without Tsunade, Choji would have died from the tricolored pills. Rock Lee never would have been a ninja again. The leaf would have been destroyed long before Naruto got back to fight Nagato. Considering the fact that Tsunade and Lady Katsuo were basically holding the line against Nagato until Naruto showed up. And in the aftermath of the pain attack, even though people got their souls back, that doesn't mean their bodies were fixed. Lady Katsuo and Tsunade were responsible basically for healing the entirety of Konoha back to health. Something Lady Tsunade, and basically only Lady Tsunade outside of Sakura, could pull off. And Sakura at that moment could not have pulled that off. And then during the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, Tsunade was solely responsible for making sure all 5 Kages weren't killed by Madara. So if you feel like, oh, I don't know, Gaara or Inoki or the 4th Raikage A had any meaningful impact in the 4th Great Shinobi World War, you should probably thank Tsunade. Gaara especially was instrumental for sealing away Edo Tensei ninjas. No Tsunade, no Gaara's Fuin Jutsu that basically swung the tide of the war.
But Nick, Itachi got Kabuto to break the Edo Tensei.
Wouldn't have mattered if all of the ninja that Gaara and the rest of the Fuin Jutsu ninjas sealed away had more time to wipe out the allied shinobi forces. But while we're talking about Hokages and Edo Tensei, up next we have to talk about Hiruzen, and specifically whether or not he's a bad guy. See, just like with the previous two opinions, this opinion is incredibly prevalent in the Naruto community. A lot of people write off Hiruzen as one of the worst people in the entirety of Naruto, and certainly one of the worst Hokages. While Hiruzen did make some mistakes in his reign as Hokage, which is understandable considering it was almost 50 years long, what he accomplished and gave to the Leaf is quite literally 1,000 times more instrumental. See, the reasons people cite for Hiruzen being a bad guy is because he let Danzo run wild, he let Orochimaru get away, and he didn't raise Naruto. And while technically all of these are very fair critiques, these 3 things don't even come close to stacking up against what Hiruzen accomplished for the Leaf. But before we talk about what Hiruzen accomplished for the Leaf, let's talk about these 3 things that people...
This image is crazy. What if this fight had actually gone down like this too? My boy just licking a kunai and he's like, yeah, I got Uchiha arms though from you. Because he got those from him. That would be like a major plot stabbing him back. While he's stabbing his tongue.
Which is he let Danzo run wild, which is honestly giving Hiruzen a lot of credit, or maybe it's just not giving Danzo enough credit. See, Danzo was a genius, and don't ever get that twisted. While the majority of people were playing checkers, Danzo was playing chess. He had his eyes on every single clan in Konoha, keeping an eye for talented children he could pull into the root. And if he found a talented child, he would pull them into the root and make them one of his elite Ambu, a private army that Danzo could mobilize at whatever time and for whatever cause he wanted, all without the approval of Hiruzen. Using this power and without the approval of Hiruzen, Danzo pulled things off like killing Yaiko and destroying the earliest iteration of the Akatsuki, which led to a war between the Akatsuki and Hanzo the Salamander, leading to Hanzo the Salamander's death, a previous enemy of the Second Great Shinobi World War, tricking Itachi into committing the Uchiha massacre, stopping the Uchiha coup and dealing with the civil unrest in Konoha, acquired the Kodo Matsukame from Shisui, and successfully leaked the information that Naruto was the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox in order to centralize everybody's hate after his birth. It's not that Hiruzen let Danzo run around. It's just Danzo kept what he was doing very secret from Hiruzen, and the system that he built with the root was very covert. See, because Danzo placed curse marks on every single member of the root that wouldn't allow them to talk about root secrets. And thus it really wasn't until the Uchiha massacre happened and Itachi went to Hiruzen to explain to him what Danzo had forced him to do that Hiruzen began to understand the scope of what was happening with Danzo in the root. At which point, he took action as far as he understood. Now, could Hiruzen have done substantially more about Danzo? Absolutely.
Yeah, because for that one, I gotta say, like, I feel like if you think that strongly about it, like, I feel like you're undercrediting Hiruzen too. Hiruzen's smart too. Like, he is the god of Shinobi after all, or at least given one of the 3 people given that name. Like, he had to know something was going on. He might not know the full scale of it or like how evil it truly was going, but he had to know something about somebody that was supposed to be his best friend and rival since way back when Tobirama was Hokage. Like, you had to know something was up, bruh. Something.
Had him killed. But if you remember, Danzo was Hiruzen's childhood best friend.
See, like,
as far as
something.
Hiruzen knew, Danzo was acting on what he thought was best for Konoha. But honestly, assuming the best out of people is probably Hiruzen's biggest weakness. Because for many years, Hiruzen assumed the best out of Orochimaru, until eventually Hiruzen came face to face with Orochimaru's human experimentation. And people are so baffled that Hiruzen let Orochimaru go after stumbling upon this human experimentation. But you have to remember, Hiruzen quite literally raised Orochimaru. Orochimaru was an orphan. He came to Konoha when he was about 6 years old. It was at that point that Hiruzen took him under his wing, raising him essentially as a son. And then when Orochimaru was through the ninja academy, he became a genin under Hiruzen again. So from the age of basically 6 years old, Orochimaru has quite literally been a son to Hiruzen. And I know you're saying,
Well, Hiruzen should have seen the signs.
you guys know why Orochimaru started down his path to try and figure out every single jutsu? The Second Great Shinobi World War is why. You see, Orochimaru used to be a squad leader, and on his squad was Tsunade's little brother. During the Second Great Shinobi World War, Tsunade's little brother dies on the front lines. Orochimaru sees this and feels responsible. So Orochimaru endeavors to become immortal so he can figure out every jutsu to prevent things like this happening again. Does he get lost somewhere down the line? Absolutely.
He gets lost and turns very
in this
evil.
circumstance, what was Hiruzen
Well, he was
supposed
trying
to
to.
see? If Naruto had gone down the wrong path and Jiraiya was the person to catch him, would you fault Jiraiya with letting Naruto go? Or would you insist that Jiraiya killed Naruto? Because that's essentially what people insisted for Hiruzen in this circumstance. But since we're talking about Naruto, we have to talk about the way Hiruzen raised
Here's this month's living
Naruto.
expenses.
See, the
Bye.
problem that a lot of people have with Hiruzen is that he basically just abandoned Naruto to live in a single apartment with rotting food. He didn't hang out there himself, he didn't send a Jonin, and well, obviously the last thing that Minato said to Hiruzen was to keep an eye on his son. Hiruzen is not solely responsible for the bad upbringing of Naruto. Danzo leaked the information that Naruto was the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. Jiraiya is quite literally the godfather of Naruto and should have been there, because that's the role of a godparent. If the parents die, the godparent raises you. Hiruzen was busy running the entirety of Konoha. He had also basically just watched his own son head down the wrong path, and to assume he was weary about taking in another orphan and raising him after watching Orochimaru go down the path that he did isn't insane. Not to mention he had already guided Konoha through the Second and Third Great Shinobi World Wars, stepped down from the role of Hokage in order to give it to Minato, and had it thrust back upon him after Minato died after only serving for 3 years. I'm not gonna say there was more important things for Hiruzen to do outside of raising Naruto, because raising the child with a nine-tailed fox in his stomach to be a good kid is probably the most important thing. But to place the entirety of the blame on Hiruzen is just not the right thing to do. Could he have done better? Absolutely. Would I have been weary to raise another orphan after watching the last one I did literally become a homicidal maniac? Probably. At the end of the day, Hiruzen had a couple of mess-ups, but his time as Hokage is the period of Naruto we understand the best. And without Hiruzen being the good guy that he was, we wouldn't have seen Kakashi or Yamato pulled out of the root, since he was pretty much solely responsible for putting Kakashi and Yamato under his wing and made them into the young men that they were. Not to mention he saved the village from Kurama on the night of Naruto's birth, pushing Kurama out of Konoha with his monkey Enma staff, and he was basically single-handedly responsible for saving Konoha from the Konoha crush. So maybe we go a little bit easier on the old man. Another very prevalent opinion within the Naruto community are things like Madara and or Pain were right, as in the ideology of either Madara or Pain was correct. And
now this, I will say I have heard, and I kind of understand where they're coming from. I wouldn't say this is like, I don't think it should be on the worst opinions. I think there's other opinions that are worse than this by far, but let's hear what you got to say on this though. Like I feel like there's other opinions that could be worse than this, but let me hear it.
Or Madara or Pain should have won. And while once again this is much more a moral gray area and therefore you are entitled to these kinds of opinions, Madara and Pain are supposed to be physical representations of opinions that have been held by humans for thousands of years. Madara representing the argument whether it's better to be free or safe, and Nagato to represent whether or not humans can truly ever fully forgive. Now Madara to me is much more interesting of these two because his argument really genuinely doesn't have a correct answer. If you survey 100 people whether or or not they would have freedom or safety, depending on where they came from and what their life was like.
Depending on what your life is like, or depending on your answers.
That being said, the same could be said for Nagato. If you surveyed a group of people,
like if you say as area that's like really strict and is enjoying safety, they probably be like, nah, we want a little bit more freedom. An area that's had a lot of freedom but no safety might be like, no, we want a little bit more safety. Like it depends on what your upbringing is like, which answer you might choose. So I get that.
Ask them whether or not humans can ever truly forgive. Depending
and we
on
know
where
that's
people are from and what their life was like, their opinions would be different.
I don't think
but the
anybody
opinion that Madara
say
represents has been talked about in literature for
should
thousands
be, but
of
it
years.
would
The
never
most
happen.
prominent example would be Fahrenheit 451, a book about a utopian world. But this world only ever achieved utopia by destroying all literature that would create divisive opinions.
Okay.
And thus safety has been achieved at the cost of freedom. This is essentially what Madara was offering up with Infinite Tsukiyomi, a peaceful and safe life at the cost of your freedom. And while I'm not saying there's a correct answer to this question, peace or freedom, what I am saying is that Madara was incorrect. Let me elaborate. Madara extolled that Infinite Tsukiyomi was the only way that humans truly would ever find peace. And the argument that free will is inherently the enemy of peace isn't a crazy one. The reason that Madara was wrong, even though his argument isn't technically incorrect, is the way he went about it. See, Madara his entire life was a warmonger, the kind of person who sowed more hatred than he did forgiveness. Madara wasn't giving the option of peace or freedom. He was taking freedom to hand peace and killing those who didn't agree. And Madara reveled in the Fourth Great Shinobi World's War. He enjoyed himself. His
ideology was good, but
against the likes of Might God.
Execution
He was
was
imposing
bad.
an ethical choice. He was imparting his will. Now, if Madara had given some people who wanted to give up their free will for a life in Infinite Tsukiyomi the choice, I couldn't argue with that. In fact, I would say that Madara was correct. But imparting your opinion of peace on the entirety of the world through the means of a war isn't exactly peaceful. And thus, while the theories that Madara might have talked about may be considered correct, Madara himself was far from it. Nagato, on the other hand, is substantially more straightforward. Nagato figured that if the entire world knew what it felt like to lose somebody, that nobody would ever want to lose somebody again, and thus peace would be found. Ironically, this sentimentality is very observant of human nature, and at the same time, incredibly ignorant to it. This sentimentality basically states that once everybody has lost somebody, everybody will be even. But the reason that Nagato started down this path was because he lost somebody, specifically Yahiko. And while it is observant to understand that people who know what loss feels like won't want to go through it again, it completely ignores the idea of radicalization, something that Nagato himself actually represents, and that hate begets hate, and therefore loss will only beget more loss. To assume that the entire world would just shake hands because everybody has lost something ignores human nature as a whole. Some people absolutely would accept their losses and lick their wounds and head back to their homes. But then there would be people like Nagato with an extreme amount of power, angry that they had lost somebody, and they would impart this anger onto the outside world, perpetuating the cycle that Nagato claimed to have broken. But in the end, the only true thing that would ever break this cycle is accepting each other how you are and finding love through that. But since we're talking about love, that brings us to our next opinion, that Sakura's love for Sasuke makes sense and is therefore warranted. People who believe that after all the years and the abuse Sasuke put Sakura through, that Sakura should still be in love with Sasuke, and that makes sense, are not right. And I fear for your relationships. See, Sakura had a crush on a boy she met in the Ninja Academy when she was 12 years old. And she had the good fortune of having that boy assigned to her team, where he proceeded to belittle, not talk to, and borderline abuse her for the next year or so. I mean, sure, he technically saved her during the Chunin exams. That's a pretty nice thing to do. I mean, he shattered her man's arms in front of her, but still, pretty nice thing to do. And then when Sasuke threw a temper tantrum about not being as strong as Naruto and went to leave the village, Sakura wanted to leave with him. So he knocked her out, which started a long habit of knocking Sakura out. In the beginning of Shippuden, Sasuke quite literally was about to summon Kirin on top of Naruto and Sakura and end their entire careers. You know what you After Sasuke battled and killed Danzo, Sakura appeared. And while she was determined to kill him, she froze. So Sasuke tried to kill her. Then there was a time Sasuke used a Rinnegan Genjutsu to make Sakura think he killed her. There's a time Sasuke stabbed her with a poison kunai, and just all the emotional abuse you can fit into a nice little therapy session. Meanwhile, Sakura had a guy like Rock Lee basically fawning over her whenever he got the opportunity. And if you don't think Rock Lee or Might Guy are the most dateable people in the entirety of Naruto, you're tripping. The time between Sasuke leaving
Rock Lee would have had her up at 3 a.m. doing handstand push-ups. Like, no. Rock Lee and Mike got the envisionment of what it's probably like to date a gym rat or bodybuilder. Maybe not even a bodybuilder, a gym rat. Someone that loves, eats, breathes, sleeves, fitness. If you are not a gym rat with them, it is, I'm going to say probably. I'm not a gym rat, I'm a gym casual, but I would never force my other significant other to go to the gym and stuff like that. But if you are a gym rat and you want you a gym bae, but you try to get a regular bae and you try to force them into the gym, that's what I feel like that relationship would have been like, nah, I don't think it's working.
Fourth grade Shinobi World War is roughly
If anything, she should have went with Naruto.
To assume that a childhood crush would stretch for those 4 years after everything Sasuke put Sakura through is a stretch. But it's a stretch we got because Sasuke wasn't going to end up with nobody. But since we're talking about the fourth grade Shinobi World War, the last opinion that we're going to talk about today is how people feel about the end of it. The end of the fourth grade Shinobi World War.
Oh, how everything ended
happily? The ending of the fourth grade Shinobi World War wasn't great. And I don't think there's a lot of Naruto fans out there who will be like,
yeah, war. Absolutely stuck it.
The biggest qualm that a lot of people have.
I will say I fucked with the ending. The fights was good. The fights was good. They struggled a little bit. It wasn't like an easy knockout win. Now I will say what he's showing right now, this plot twist. After hearing some people complain about it, I see why the complaints came out. When I was watching live, I was like, I mean, shoot, it surprised the heck out of me. You know, plot twist of the century. Yo, oh dang, she's still alive, and he actually got, you know, backstabbed. Like, karma. I just saw karma. Like,
have is the way Madara died. See,
I see why people are mad at it,
ascended to nigh immortal status, taking on the likes of Naruto, Sasuke in an 8 Gates guide, and still rising to the challenge, is donut hold by the person that we thought was the weakest member of the Akatsuki in order to make him the vessel for Kaguya's reincarnation.
Like, how did you not even see somebody
annoying?
Like,
I've been very outspoken about how annoying that was.
Somebody about to
However,
jab me in my back.
And all of this is blaming Kaguya and the existence of the Otsutsukis. See, the way that Madara died was really dumb. Personally, I think 8K's guy should have either killed or permanently crippled
killed him.
And then Black Zetsu should have gone to his dying or already dead corpse and then made that corpse the vessel for Kaguya's reincarnation.
But when I heard that, I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Because I really did think the guy would have killed him.
Because the Ototsukis had to be introduced for the timeline of Boruto. By introducing the Ototsukis, we were getting an outside world threat that would threaten the Naruto timeline for decades to come, giving Kishimoto and the rest of the writing team infinite material to build off of in the future. And while a lot of people watching this video probably don't like Boruto, that's probably because they've only tried to watch the anime and not read the manga.
I've read the anime and I love it.
It's actually very good. And the existence of these celestial threats and the entire world having to come together in order to fight against these celestial threats is actually a pretty good continuation of Naruto from where it was in the fourth great Shinobi World War. So to blame the existence of the Otsutsukis on the fourth great Shinobi World War not sticking its landing, I at least don't think is a good opinion. However, if Naruto had hypothetically ended with Madara's death, and then a year or two later in the timeline of Boruto, we got the introduction of the Otsutsukis, I wouldn't have minded that either. But I think at some point or another, they had to be introduced. And getting to see Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi against Kaguya was genuinely a very cool fight. So while I highly disagree with how Madara came out and how Kaguya was introduced, her introduction in itself was not a bad thing. But what do you guys think? What are some opinions in the Naruto fandom that you hate? Tell me in the comments below.
I mean, there's not really any, like, I don't really kind of search up like the fandom like that and like see what y'all are saying too often. Some opinions I would say that I have that might be controversial. I mean, Naruto and Sakura should have ended up together. I know that puts kind of like I said, Sasuke with Karin, but who does Hinata end up with then? I mean, hey, I wasn't here for that question. I'm trying to think some other ones like. Neji should have been more useful. There should have been more episodes of side characters, but that's all like writing and timing for the series to be wrapped up. The war arc maybe shouldn't have been as many episodes as it was. Could be one that I do have. Like it probably could have shortened it down like less. There were a lot of important fights that I feel like we need to see, but like a lot of times where I kind of just felt like they were dragging it. I wish, me personally, like not introducing the other 7, or I guess you say 6. Depending on how much you've watched, because I mean you get introduced to some of the other tail beasts, but I feel like more in-depth looks like kind of how we got, like I said, look at Gaara. Like the show wasn't about Gaara, but we knew a lot about Shukaku during the war arc. When we got to Shippuden, we started to know a lot more about Gyuki and Killer Bee. Like just being able to have that kind of knowledge, like at least be able to see them get taken down. Get like a little episode or 2 episodes where we get to learn a little bit about their backstory and then the fight. You know, maybe show them running away, about to get captured, flashback to how they lived a little bit, and then come back and see the fight and everything. I don't know, something along those lines. Like I said, we got a little bit with the 6 tails Saiken. We got a little bit with, if you watch like the filler episodes with Fu, the 7 tails. I think I'm saying that right. Or it might be 5 tails, 6 tails. Six tails, seven tails. Yeah, six tails, seven tails. Yagura you get a little bit with, depending if you watch the fillers. You don't really get to see how he lived, but you get to see him and see him use his Jinchuriki a little bit. So that's the three tails. But outside of that, I mean, we don't see Son Goku at all. You don't see Han at all. You see Yu-Gi-Oh die, but you don't see anything else about it at all. And how did they get there to infiltrate and get Yu-Gi-Oh? I hope I'm saying her name right. The two tails, but didn't get Killer Bee. Y'all are already in the Cloud Village. Why don't y'all just go ahead and take care of that? And he looked up towards the mentor side. I would think it'd mean at one point, at least at that time when he was looking up to her, she was stronger. But how they didn't go get Killer Bee, I don't know. And who else are we missing? Who else do we not really get? So Son Goku, Kruko. I think I'm saying her name right. The horse, the two tails. I think everybody else we get like a little bit of taste from. Like I said, not even really, I would include the three tails in there because we didn't really get to see much of that. So I mean, including more of them into the story. Just like it really just be like little stuff that honestly would just be more so about timing and writing. Not like I don't even feel like they're like necessarily bad opinions. Like, could we have gotten the Sound Village, more flushed out? Could we have gotten more missions or more time with the other hidden villages to see what they were like and look like and stuff like that? I don't know, just stuff like that. But let me know down below what is maybe the opinion that you have that might be under thought about. You don't think a lot of people are on your side on, or that you just plain don't know. Like, it's just an opinion you have, but you never argued it with anybody. Let me know down below some of you guys' Naruto opinions and takes. I won't put them on a words list. We'll just kind of, I'll talk back with you if I find them interesting, or if there's other people that find them interesting, we'll chat back and forth down below in the comment section. So catch you guys in the next video. It's me, your boy Sean, this movie again, Black Hokage, Black Avatar King Leo, and I'll catch you guys in that next video, man. I am gone for the day. Peace.